Hello guys, they will be designing a tip calculator. So think of this tip calculator as something that you can use to calculate a tip to give to a waiter in a restaurant or probably in a shopping mall after getting your goods and services. You can just use this tip calculator to calculate an extra fee that you want to give to the waiter. So the code I just I'll be using today is Visual Code. So I'll be opening my Visual Studio Code right about now. So in my Visual Studio Code, I'm in my 30 days of code folder. So I'll be creating a new file for today's code. So the file is going to be day 12. Okay, day 12. So in this day 12 folder, I want to let me see. Very good. So let me create three new files. So the first file should be index.html. Index.html. Second file should be style.css. And the third one should be script.js. Let me add my screen so you can see it very well. So the first file, the index.html, this is what we are going to use to this is what we are going to use to generate the structure of our web page. So the structure of the tip calculator is going to be written here. We are going to use the style.css to add some decorations to style the tip calculator. While we are going to use the script.js, that is the JavaScript file, to add functionality to the tip calculator. So let's start with the framework now. The framework is like the skeleton of the what of the tip calculator. So let me change the name or the title of the document to be tip calculator. Next, I want to link my CSS to my HTML file. I'll start the CSS. Now I want to link my JavaScript to my HTML file. Very good. So now I've linked my CSS and my JavaScript to my HTML file. So let me go live so that anything I'm doing, we can easily view it. I'll go live now. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So the first thing I want my users to see whenever in this calculator is the heading. So but before the heading, let me just put everything in a div so I can use this div to style it later. So the first thing I want them to see is the heading. Let's give that an H2 so it won't be too big. And the heading is going to be tip calculator. So we have it on the web page already. The tip calculator. Good, that's great. So the next thing, we want the user to input. We want them to enter a specific amount. So this amount is going to be the bill of the goods they bought or the bill of the service. So how much is the bill worth? So let's have an input. Let's have an input. So this input should have a type of number because the bill is going to be in digits. So a type of number. So let's give it an ID of bill. Now let's give it a placeholder of bill. So the placeholder is now showing in the what? It is showing in the box. That's bill. So, but apart from this placeholder, I also want to give it a label. So that's this. So it should be the label for bill. Good. That's all. That's bill. So after the bill, I want the user to be able to, at their own discretion, enter the percentage of the bill which they want to tip the waiter or the person offering them the service. So let's create another label. Let's create another label. So this will be the label for tip, and it should have a place. So let's call this tip percentage. Tip percentage. So this is going to be the tip what? Tip percentage. Okay. So after the tip percentage, let's have the inputs now. That'll be the input. Type should be number. ID should be tip. Uh, then should have a placeholder of tip tip percentage. That looks great. So after entering the bill, maybe 100 naira worth, after adding the percentage, maybe 20% of the total bill. Now we want to add a button. So this is the button that the user will click to generate the total bill. So the total bill will include the tip and the total amount of bill. So the percentage of the tip and the bill add together will give us the total bill. So for that, let's have our button. So this button should have calculate. So this button is what we are going to use to calculate our total bill. So we have our structure now. Let's add some functionalities to this structure so it works. So to add the functionality, I'm going to create a function. So the function is going to be calculate tip. Very good. Calculate tip. So the first time I want to declare the variables that I have. That becomes bill should be equal to pass float documents dot get elements by ID. That will be dot value. Very good. So the next one should be const tip. Const tip should be equal to pass float documents that get elements by ID tip dot value. So the next is going to be const total. Oh, that's true. After clicking on calculate, where do we want our result to be displayed? So we have to go back to our HTML and create a paragraph. That's okay. After clicking on calculate, I want our result to be displayed, and this should have an ID of total. So it's going to be displayed somewhere around here, but we do not give it any value as of yet. So the value is going to be the total value of the bill and the tip percentage. So let's go back to our script. So the total now is going to be the bill plus open brackets bill multiplied by bill, no, multiplied by tip divided by 100, because what we are entering here is tip percentage. So the tip percentage, that's the tip divided by 100 multiplied by the bill plus the bill. That is what's going to give us our total our total bill. So after doing this, we want to display our results. So our results now is going to be document dot get element by id, and that's going to be the id of what? Id of total. Id of total dot text content should be equal to backticks total bill is equal to the naira sign, dollar sign. So that's total dot to fix to. Okay, good. So let's test this. Let's see if this actually works. So let's assume I went to a supermarket and I bought a goods worth 100 naira, and I want to give the waiter a tip of 20%. So the total bill should be 120 naira. Let's click on calculate. Oh, it is not working yet. That's because we created the function, but we are not calling this function yet. So we have to go back to our HTML and say that whenever this button is being clicked, it should call on a function. So on click is to call on the function of calculate tip. Calculate tip. Very good. So anytime you click on this button, you should call on the function of calculate tip. So let's do that again. A goes of 100, the percentage of 20%, calculate. So total bill is equal to 120 naira. Very good. So our tip calculator is working perfectly now. Let's assume I bought a goods of 5,000 naira. I want to give the waiter a percentage, a tip of let's say 15%. Then calculating, my total bill will be equal to 5,750 naira. This is great. This is nice. But our tip calculator is looking too odd. Let's add some style to this calculator to make it more modern, more attractive. So to do that, I'm going to call on my div. Since everything is contained in the div, I want to change the display to flex. Very good. Change the display to flex. So this is what happens. Display flex. Let me change the margin to also. Margin also. Align items. Center. Justify content. Center. Flex direction. Column. Flex direction. Column. Okay. That looks great. margin sub. Let's make that 200 VH. Okay, nice. Let me add some background colors to that. Okay, let's add it background color. So let's make the background color. Should I make it this? Let me make it this. Let me make the body background color should be black. Very good. Let me maximize this. Oh, my tip calculator is so wide. Let me change the width. So yeah, I can change the width. Let's make it 40%. Too small. Let's make it 50. Okay, 50%. Let's maximize that. Okay, so this is what we have, 50%. Okay, 50%. Um, border radius. Border radius. 25 pixels. Okay, great. So this is what it looks like. Okay. Um. Okay. So let's go to input now. Let's add some some paddings and margins. Let's go to our inputs. Let's add some padding of 0.5 REM. Okay. Let's add some margin of 1 REM. Great. Let's see what that looks like on the big screen. Nice. Let me test this. Mm, Label font weight. Font weight. Let me bold. Very good. Font weight bold. Button. Button. Let me give it the padding of 0.5 REM. Okay. Let me make the background color black. Let me make the text color white. Calculate. Let's give some border radius of 15 pixels. Okay, great. 15 pixels. Let's change the font weight also. Font weight. Good. Nice. Let's move on to the P, the paragraph. It's actually full, it's okay. The only thing I just want to do is just the font weight. Paragraph. Let me just copy this and paste this right here. Total big is equals to Okay. What about if I change the font size? Let me change the font size of like 2 RAM. That's too big. Let's see what 1.5 looks like. Uh, 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 1.3, 1.7, 1.6. Let me see it on the big screen. Oh. That sure looks nice. Okay. Yeah. I think this looks nice for me. This will do it for me. So let me minimize house now. Oops, sorry. Minimize house now. Oh, that's too much. This should be good. Okay. So today I've just designed our tip calculator using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So now, if I visit a shopping mall and I buy a good, let's say, was 15,000 naira, and then I want to give the waiter a tip of 23% from to calculate. So my total bill is going to be equal to 18,415 naira instead of 15,000. So let's assume I bought a goods worth 1 million naira. Then I want to give him a discount of 10% tip. Calculating, that will be what? That will be 100 and boo boo boo. Okay. So today we just designed a tip calculator, so we can use this to tip somebody. So let me maximize this so you can have the full screen. So this is what the full screen looks like. Okay, so let's assume it is 5,000 naira. You want to give me a tip of, let's say, 79%. The total amount is going to be okay. This looks nice. This looks nice. This is great. So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you in our subsequent sessions as we create more sophisticated web pages, as we create more sophisticated applications. So that is all we have for today. Thank you.